Hello and welcome to episode 465 of the official EstablishTheRun.com podcast. My name is Adam Levitan, as always, joined by Evan Silva, here to go team by team through the AFC. Evan, how's it going?
Just recorded the NFC team by team pod. Let's get into the AFC.
Before we get into it, I have to remind everyone the NBA season starts tonight. As you're listening to this, the NBA season is probably already underway. If you are interested in playing DFS, in betting props, whatever it is, you need to have the best projections for NBA. There's no firing from your gut in hoops. It's just way, way, way too technical and way, way, way too narrow of a range on the players to try to pull that off. We have our projection team working 7 days a week, 24/7 around the globe to make sure our projections are the best in the entire industry. Head to the subscribe page on the site to check that out. Also, this podcast is brought to you by our friends at UnderdogFantasy.com. They have their Battle Royale contest every single week and nightly best ball snake drafts for basketball as well. We will have rankings up on Wednesday evenings for Battle Royale NFL each week. We've had those up the last few weeks. Hopefully you guys are enjoying it. Use promo code ETR when you sign up for Underdog Fantasy. They will match your first deposit up to $100. Again, promo code ETR at UnderdogFantasy.com. All right, let's start with the Ravens. Scary stuff on J.K. Dobbins. Only played 16 snaps. The quote from Harbaugh after the game was, J.K. Dobbins' knee tightened up. It just didn't respond, probably to the turf maybe. I don't know. But the knee tightened up and he couldn't go. Is this a turf thing? We don't know. You know, a lot of guys were talking about the turf out there in New York. I don't know. Kenyon Drake came in and played pretty well, man. It's not great for J.K. Dobbins right now. Any thoughts there, Evan? Any other thoughts on the Ravens?
Yeah, I mean, J.K. Dobbins is back to a place where you can't play him. You got to like make him prove to you that he can get out there, stay out there, and earn a significant workload. He has done none of those things yet. And it always seemed to me all along like maybe J.K. Dobbins was pushing it too hard. You know, like the team was trying to hold him back. He was pushing it too hard. And now we have, you know, maybe another setback. Kenyon Drake played really well. And I think that their running game has shown some signs of life recently after starting off the season like they couldn't run the ball at all. But, you know, they're going to be using multiple backs for sure. Lamar obviously continues to play a massive role in the running game, 77 yards on the ground in this one. I just wanted to give a shout out to our old friend Daigle. Emphasis on old. Before the season, I drafted a team with Ben Gretsch. And it's actually called the Man versus Machine because he's like the machine in this in this scenario. And Daigle, I put the team out on Twitter, and Daigle called us the Rake. He said that it was the worst team that he's ever seen drafted. Let me tell you who's on this team, okay, which happens to be 5-1 and in first in points. Lamar Jackson, Mark Andrews, Ramondre Stevenson, okay, CeeDee Lamb, Jalen Waddle, Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, okay? Just some of the guys. Oh, and Justin Tucker also. But I just wanted to give a shout-out to Daigle. You have to – in order to know what a bad team is, you have to know what a good team is. and Daigle appears to not be able to decipher either of those things.
Well done, victory lap there. Well done. The one other thing I'd say is looks like Rashad Bateman is close. And they've missed him, I think, the last couple of weeks. I know he didn't have a big role at the beginning, but I'm still excited to see what they can do with Rashad Bateman. I hope he makes it back for this week. And also, Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts are both on a bye this week. So we're going to be talking a lot about Lamar on Friday night's DFS show because he's one of the only elite quarterbacks playing this week.
So Travis Kelce has outscored Mark Andrews so far to this point. Who would you take the rest of the way?
Oh, I think Andrews. I
kind of do too.
Yeah. I mean, 4 touchdown games are not sustainable. Mark Andrews is just, I mean.
Well, but Kelce has more, actually, I don't think he has more yards.
Yeah. Oh, it's certainly close.
He does have more catches. Yeah. Okay.
Bills. The slot thing was I thought really interesting. You know, Isaiah McKenzie outsnapped Khalil Shakir in this game against Kansas City 37-15. But even the broadcast commented how poorly Isaiah McKenzie played. And I think that we'll start to see the gap between McKenzie and Shakir kind of close a little bit, maybe even flip at some point. I think that in a lot of weeks, they're going to kind of cancel each other out for now. Also, I know we've talked about it all year, but it just hammered home. In the big games, they want Devin Singletary out there every snap. I mean, they didn't even activate Zach Moss for this game. Big game against the Chiefs, what do we do? Devin Singletary, 63 snaps. James Cook, 10. Zach Moss, you're deactivated. So, it's just so clear to me that that's what they think. What you see out of the Bills in another really good late win over the Chiefs.
Yeah, I mean, Stephon Diggs is just like freaking rolling. Gabe Davis is looking good again. Josh Allen just makes plays that are like legitimately indefensible at times. And he'll just like go off like on a particular series and just march the team down the field like by himself, like hurdling a guy, hitting a deep shot to Gabe Davis or Stephon Diggs. Dawson Knox got hurt in this game. Is that correct?
I didn't see anything on that, but I could have missed it. It's possible.
All right. I could be wrong about that.
Okay. They're going into their bye. So
yeah, they're going into their bye. Right.
So he will have some extra time. By the way, Steph Diggs is on pace for 139 catches, 1,858 yards, and 17 touchdowns. I mean, Steph Diggs is out of control.
Yeah. Hopefully a lot of people got him because we were very high on him.
Yes, definitely. Cincinnati. So I was a little worried Zach Taylor wasn't going to do the right thing. And to me, the right thing when you play the Saints is throw a lot, especially when Marshawn Lattimore is out. They have a very good run defense. They are very bad in pass defense, particularly, again, when Marshawn Lattimore is out. He did the right thing. 42 Joe Burrow dropbacks, only 10 running back carries in this game against the Saints for the Bengals. That led to Jamar Chase going absolutely nuclear. Incredible spot for Jamar Chase, which we talked about on Friday. What do you see out of the Bengals game down in New Orleans?
Yeah, I mean, we were very much on Jamar Chase like early in the week, and it felt like as the week progressed, like just everybody got on Jamar Chase, right?
T. Higgins, people were more on him when everybody thought T. Higgins was going to miss, but yes.
Okay. Yeah. Do you know what his ownership percentage was?
Yeah, it ended up being around like 18%.
Okay. Well, I mean, that was just the total nut spot for him, and he smashed it. So any worries about Jamar Chase, obviously we can put those in the rear view. I like that T. Higgins got out there and, caught 6 balls, saw 10 targets. I know he didn't make any big plays, but he's out there. Hayden Hurst had a dud, maybe partly due to the injury that he was battling entering the game. I don't know. I
thought Hayden Hurst's health was fine, but obviously when you have T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd and Jamar Chase and Joe Mixon out there commanding targets, there's going to be floor games for Hayden Hurst. There's no doubt about it.
When they got the full house, it's definitely going to be tougher for Hayden Hurst.
Speaking of certain games, Cleveland. And this is what I've been talking about the last couple of weeks. Where do you find Nick Chubb floor games? You find Nick Chubb floor games when they get beat and they get beat bad, and that's what happened. And their next games are at Baltimore, versus the Bengals, at the Dolphins, at the Bills, at the Bucks. I mean, Cleveland has a really tough schedule, and so that's why I was on the sell high Nick Chubb train before this. Now you can't sell Nick Chubb. Maybe you can, I don't know, but you can't sell Nick Chubb now after he goes 12-54-0, and obviously everybody knows he doesn't play in the pass game. Kareem Hunt plays plenty on rundowns as well. So it just kind of is what it is. When you have Nick Chubb, you have to be willing to accept some of these games when the Browns play poorly, what you see out of the Browns game against the Patriots.
Yeah, I mean, they just got smoked. I mean, their defense is really bad, and sometimes that can be a problem. Sometimes it can be good. It can force them to keep their foot on the gas in certain situations. That's not always the case when you got a backup caliber quarterback under center, though. Mm-hmm. They did wind up throwing it 45 times, but Jacoby Brissett averaged under 6 yards per pass attempt. Three turnovers in this one, 4 sacks taken. Just not a good offensive effort. The Patriots defense has been pretty like rock solid so far. And, the Browns are relying on in scenarios like this, when they're down by, multiple scores, like they're not going to be able to bounce back out of that kind of a situation. And obviously Belichick also had the familiarity with Jacoby Brissett. I mean, just was not a good offensive effort whatsoever. And their defense gave up a ton of points to New England.
Yeah. And when you're down multiple scores, also, you can't, they refuse to play their best player. They don't want to play their best player, Nick Chubb. So, he's just like stuck there on the sideline holding his jock. Okay. Denver. Man, This Latavius Murray stuff, Evan, I got it wrong. I don't know what to say. I can't believe that Melvin Gordon was, in the eyes of the coaching staff, better than Javonte Williams, or should steal carries and snaps from Javonte Williams. But Melvin Gordon isn't good enough to steal carries and snaps from Latavius Murray, who they just signed a week and a half ago. It makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. Melvin Gordon says he wasn't hurt, doesn't know he's not playing. He played freaking 7 snaps or 9 snaps in this game. It's insane to me. Latavius comes in, plays 27 snaps, 15-66-0. He was the primary back, and Mike Boone was the pass down back. I didn't see that coming whatsoever. So I want to start there, and then I do want to talk about the Dulcich stuff also. But what do you think about the backfield?
Pretty much the same as you. And this was a great matchup. I mean, the Chargers have been getting smashed by the run again this year, and I was very surprised. I mean, I don't think Latavius Murray is very good at this stage of his career either. I'm not sure that he's that big of a downgrade from Melvin Gordon, but I mean, Melvin Gordon's fumbled a bunch of times this year. I was hoping that Mike Boone would get that opportunity, but they seem to just see him as a niche guy in the passing game. Yeah,
if you wanted to bench Melvin Gordon, that's cool, but you should have been giving Javonte Williams like 25 touches a game before he got hurt, not Latavius Murray. But anyways, the other story here, there's 2 more stories. Greg Dulcich's NFL debut and the Alberto stuff is a disaster. I have a lot of late round tight end teams that have Alberto in best ball. And, we saw this coming. We talked about how he was going to be a healthy scratch, most likely when Greg Dulcich got activated. And that's exactly what happened. Greg Dulcich's NFL debut was better usage than Alberto had at any point. 71% of the snaps, 22 of them slot, 3 of them wide, ran a route on 79% of Russ Wilson's dropbacks. Dulcich only got 3 targets for a 10.7% share, but 244-1 result. And again, remember Dulcich's profile coming out of college. He was a pass catching tight end in college, which you don't see a lot of. And it's exciting for the NFL. What do you think of his debut? And what do you think of Russ? And by the way, on the Russ stuff, he is reportedly nursing a very bad hamstring injury now, in addition to whatever shoulder issues he has.
Yeah, and he had Greg Dulcich had a nice, he was wide open, but he had a nice long touchdown from Russ. It sounds to me like Russ is going to be out a while. I mean, like several weeks maybe with this hamstring injury.
He's been incredible getting back from injuries in his career, and I wouldn't count him out. But yeah, it does not sound good on the hamstring. He said he hurt it in the 4th quarter and just tried to gut it out in overtime.
And he looked pretty good in the first half. I mean, that really was good, maybe his best half all season, and then it just all went to shit in the second half again. And the coaching staff. I mean, we have to remember that coaching staffs that are incompetent make irrational decisions. And so that's what we've been getting all year from Nathaniel Hackett. He never deserved to get this job, to be perfectly frank. I mean,
he's been bad.
Yeah. I mean, I think that they got him in part because they thought that they could get Aaron Rodgers through him, and they did not. And they went and they got Russ, and they paid out the ass for Russ, and it's not working.
Oh boy, what a mess. What a mess. What a mess in Denver for sure. We'll keep an eye on Russ's status. Houston Texans coming out of their bye. They'll be at Las Vegas and versus the Titans in their next 2. I didn't really have any things I'm watching coming out of the bye. I think it's pretty well known, the usage and the players on Houston. Anything for you on Houston as they come out of their bye?
Just that Dameon Pierce is a stud.
Yep.
Yeah. That's all I got.
Sure. Colts. I mean, Jesus, Evan. 58 dropbacks for Matt Ryan in this game. Takes 0 sacks, throws 0 interceptions, completes 42 of them with 3 touchdown passes and no interceptions in a win. I mean, I didn't think that Matt Ryan had this in him anymore. What a game for Matt Ryan. What a game for Michael Pittman. And what a game for Deion Jackson, who was, slaughtering the slate until he hurt his quad. I don't know how serious that is. We'll see on Jonathan Taylor's status also. But, man, what a day for the Colts on offense. What do you see out of them?
Yeah, I mean, no Jonathan Taylor, no Nyheim Hines. They're shuffling dudes all over their offensive line, just trying to figure out something that'll stick. And it kind of did stick here. And also shout out to Frank Reich, who just has the ability to change his offense almost on the fly to deal with his own personnel strengths and weaknesses. The Colts are 3-2-1. They have a winning record
Mm-hmm.
You know, and Matt Ryan, and in this particular game, they went pass heavy. It was successful. They got production out of Paris Campbell that he had not had previously. Alec Pierce made a couple of big plays. Pittman is a stud in the middle of the field. I know we had been talking about, you know, how he had not gotten any deep targets, and he actually did get a couple in this one, but he's mostly working around. He's like a crossing route runner,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, when they pump up the volume a little bit here in terms of their pass volume, I mean, he has a chance to have big days.
I mean, 16 targets for Michael Pittman in this game on a day that Matt Ryan threw 58 times. The Deion Jackson thing, though, was incredible. I mean, 10 targets and 10 catches for Deion Jackson and scored a rushing touchdown. So we'll see what his status is, and we'll see what Jonathan Taylor's status is. I kind of think JT's going to be back this week. Sounded like he was reasonably close in week 6, but we'll see. Let's go to the Jaguars. Travis Etienne has outsnapped James Robinson in 3 straight games. They've all been close games. Jacksonville's, had a lead or been even or been slightly behind in all 3. They have lost all 3, but at least Etienne's outsnapping J-Rob at this point consistently. The Marvin Jones thing didn't go as I thought it was going to go. I thought it would lead to Jamal Agnew playing in the slot. I'm not sure if Agnew got hurt or what, but he barely played even with Marvin Jones out. It was Tim Jones on the outside, Christian Kirk in the slot. Still not a high volume game for Christian Kirk. The squeaky wheel was not quenched with Christian Kirk, even though he did get a touchdown. What'd you see out of the Jaguars? Another disappointing loss for the Jaguars here.
Yeah, the great Zay Jones with another 42-yard scoreless outing. Yeah, I mean, as in the backfield in particular, I think it's worth bringing up that Travis Etienne just has a lot more explosiveness than does James Robinson. And look, the coaching staff likes James Robinson and all that. But like, I mean, I think they need to move toward Travis Etienne. And I think that they know that too, which helps explain why Etienne is seeing more snaps now.
Yep. Chiefs. So the thesis, and I, if you guys were listening to last week when we talked about the Chiefs, I was like on the edge. I was like on the border of taking the L on Juju Smith-Schuster. And maybe I actually did take the L. I'm rescinding the L that I took because, here's the deal. When you are on the field this much with Patrick Mahomes and Juju led the team with 44 routes on 47 Patrick Mahomes dropbacks, you're going to have big games. You just are. Like, you're just going to fall into big games. And so Juju fell into a big game here. I think we're still going to have plenty of lower ceiling games from Juju going forward, but obviously it was really good to see that he was able to capitalize on all that work. Sky Moore, only 13 routes. I'd love to see them get Sky Moore more work, but they're just not doing it right now. Disappointing loss for Kansas City. Certainly had a chance to beat the Bills and get the inside track for the number 1 seed in the AFC. Couldn't do it. What do you see out of the Chiefs?
The trajectory for Sky Moore is moving up, but it's just so incremental that, we're still kind of waiting. We're waiting. But when he gets the ball in his hands, like, I think he looks pretty dynamic.
Yeah.
Awesome game for Juju. Definitely, add some confidence to him as a player. I still think he's a wide receiver 3/flex. Probably not the wide receiver 2 every week that we were hoping that he would be.
Yeah.
But I do think he's a fantasy starter.
Yeah.
So I guess that's pretty much all I have. The backfield is just an absolute mess right now. They're using 3 guys.
It's just straight hot hand in the backfield.
Yeah, it's just straight hot hand. Yeah.
The Juju stuff, he only had 5 targets on 40 pass attempts. So, Juju's not going to project that well. He's just getting dragged along by Mahomes.
I like to see him make some plays though. It was nice to see him make some actual plays. I feel like he hadn't really done that very much at this point in the season.
For sure. Raiders are coming out of their bye. They'll be in a home game against the Texans. Don't have too much to say on the Raiders. I think they'll be relatively healthy. We'll see on Darren Waller's status. He hurt his hamstring before the bye. The Island, Foster Moreau would be an emergency plug-in if you needed something, and Waller is out.
Yeah, although Foster Moreau has been hurt too.
Oh, God. Okay.
Yeah. Devontae Adams. So this cameraman that he pushed filed assault charges against him. So now the NFL is going to wait for that to happen. That's actually good news for Devontae Adams fantasy owners. It looks like there's not necessarily going to be any kind of a suspension anytime soon, when at one point it was looking like that was likely.
Yeah, that's just a ridiculous situation. Okay. Chargers last night. So they have offensive line issues. I mean, clearly they have offensive line issues. They've already had a lot of injuries. They also have no Keenan Allen. And I think that both of those things have contributed to Austin Eckler's outrageous pass game role. We're talking, he had 16 more targets last night. He's on pace for 116 catches this year, is Austin Eckler. Running back record is 116, set by Christian McCaffrey in 2019. I mean, Austin Eckler's role is absolutely outrageous. I was also, we talked about in the Showdown show, if you guys watched on YouTube, such a clean spot for Josh Palmer because Pat Surtain is no joke, man. I mean, absolutely no joke. And so Josh Palmer was the one you could tell that Justin Herbert was trying to get the ball to. What you see out of the Chargers overtime win over the Broncos.
Yeah, because Pat Surtain was on Mike Williams. I mean, he clamped him. He clamped him. And so a lot of targets to Josh Palmer. Josh Palmer is just, I feel like he's pretty average. I mean, I wanted him to be good. I wanted him to be good. I liked him as a sleeper, and look, you catch 9 balls, you're going to be pretty good in fantasy, right?
Yeah.
But I wanted more from him.
He drew a couple pass interference last night too. He had a pretty good game last night, but he is not. I agree with you. He's just like an average NFL wide receiver.
They got Parham cooking in there.
Yeah,
he looked pretty good out there.
Of
there
course.
was one point where I was like, oh man, I thought he was like got concussed on one of his catches. But
imagine using draft capital on Trey McKitty and a bunch of money on Gerald Everett. You could just let Don Parham go out there and go nuts, but no.
Hey, I'm with you. But that he's hurting Gerald Everett though.
Yeah, Gerald Everett's kind of like Irv Smith in that he only runs a route on like 60 to 70% of the dropbacks each week. Miami, so what a mess at quarterback,
Oh, hey. One thing, because we talked a lot about Josh Kelly last week.
Yeah.
He got hurt, right?
I actually didn't see it, but it's possible.
Okay, I'm pretty sure that he did. All right, well, I don't know. It'll be in the matchups column at very least, and certainly we'll talk about it.
Yeah, he hurt his knee. He left the game with a knee injury. I'm not sure if he came back
real early. Yeah. So, well, that meant that Michelle was the second guy up.
Yeah.
So I was talking about like, Josh Kelly should be owned in all leagues.
Yeah.
All right, but anyways.
Okay. Miami. So you were right, Evan. They just thought Skylar Thompson was better, period, than Teddy Bridgewater. And that's why Skylar started the game. Then Skylar gets hurt. Teddy gets in there. The good news is hopefully we can put all this behind us because it sounds like Tua Tagovailoa will be back for week 7. The target shares here are so ridiculous. I mean, Tyreek Hill, 29%, Jalen Waddle, 22%. There's no one else on the team getting above an 8% target share. It's so tightly concentrated. So excited for Tua to get back and give him a bit bigger ceiling here. What'd you see out of the Dolphins' loss to the Vikings?
Yeah, I would continue to be very skeptical about Mike Gesicki. We got a lot of pass attempts in this game, 47 pass attempts from Miami. So some guy, at the bottom is going to sort of pop up. With that said, like Gesicki's had a couple of decent games now.
Yeah.
So I'm still pretty skeptical of him.
I think I was reading an article today that they were willing to trade him. I don't know if they'll be able to because they have him on the franchise tag, and that's going to be difficult to fit, I think. But yeah.
Because that's just possible. A massive salary albatross, $11 million or whatever. Like most teams don't have $11 million in cap space, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah. By the way, I did note in this game, Chase Edmonds was back from the dead. Chase Edmonds played 31 snaps, Raheem Mostert played 48. Routes were Edmonds 24, Mostert 27. So Edmonds was at least back in the mix. Didn't touch the ball a lot, but he was at least back out there. New England. Hunter Henry, man, I was all set to play Hunter Henry, man. I was ready, and then Johnny was deemed active, and I couldn't pull the trigger on it, and Hunter Henry still has a really good game. Back-to-back really good games for Hunter Henry. Dude can play when they use him correctly. Also, Tyquan Thornton, I mean, this dude can fly. We're talking like 4.2 speed for Tyquan Thornton. Aguilar was hurt. I believe Kendrick Bourne was hurt also, and you got to see Tyquan Thornton have a big day. What you see out of the Patriots' easy win in New England?
Yeah, I told somebody before the game to not play or I just said I wouldn't play Tyquan Thornton.
Yeah,
he goes out and scores 2 TDs. My bad. I'm sorry. I think he can be a factor as long as Nelson Aguilar stays out. I mean, he's going to be up and down. He's like he can fly. Yeah, but that's like what he is, So.
No, you hit mute on yourself, Evan.
Trying to mute this autoplay shit on ESPN.
Oh.
Tyquan Thornton, I mean, they manufacture some touches for him though, which you like to see.
Mm-hmm.
Bailey Zappi has been like real sturdy. I mean, he's getting really good pass protection. The Browns are not good on defense, but he's been like, everything that you want a backup quarterback to be. And I guess some people are trying to stoke the quarterback controversy between him and Mac Jones. I'm not buying it. But I mean, as long as Bailey Zappi plays well, that can give them impetus to wait out Mac Jones. I mean, high ankle sprains suck. We talked about this ad nauseum. They can wait until he's truly 100%, which they should do.
Right. At quarterback, I feel like it won't affect a guy like Mac Jones as much. I mean, he's not really moving much anyways. But
yeah,
for sure.
I mean, a lineman falls on him or some shit like that would absolutely suck. Ramondre is an absolute stud.
Yeah, I mean, we knew it was going to happen, but Ramondre played 60 snaps, 6-0. Next closest was Kevin Harris with 12, and so it was all Ramondre all the time, and he's obviously a very, very talented guy. Jets just completed 10 passes in Green Bay and won the game. I mean, and Brees is just so good. And this was the whole point about Brees in the dead zone. It's like he's more talented than running backs who typically go in round 4 or round 5. Brees is now up to 77% of the running back carries against the Packers. He's also 4th among all running backs in receiving yards this season. What do you see out of the Jets upset in Green Bay?
Just Brees, and they would love to have every game go like this, where Zach Wilson only has 20 dropbacks. They just feed the shit out of Brees Hall, give a little bit to Michael Carter. I think that this is the way they want to play. It really creates a lot of projection difficulty for their pass catchers. I don't know how you can play any of their pass catchers with any level of confidence at this point because they want to run the football. They've got a defense that, they got a lot of players on defense. And they've got Robert Saleh, the defensive-minded head coach, who's had, a good level of success.
Yeah.
In the pass catcher, I don't know how you can play Garrett Wilson. Elijah Moore is like now the squeaky wheel, I guess. He was complaining after the game about his lack of targets. Corey Davis is there. They got multiple tight ends. It's kind of a disaster from a projection standpoint.
That's the thing. Even if they get into a game where Zach Wilson drops back 30 or 40 times, it's hard to say exactly which wide receiver will perform best anyways, And so, yeah, I'm pretty paralyzed with the Jets pass game stuff as well. Pittsburgh, Kenny Pickett suffered a concussion. Unfortunately, they go to Mitch Trubisky, and Mitch Trubisky wins the game over Tampa. The Najee Harris, Jalen Warren stuff continues to go as we thought it would go. Jalen Warren playing on a lot of pass downs. Jalen Warren, 20 snaps and 12 routes in this game. Najee Harris, 44 and 17 routes. So, one of the biggest things Najee Harris had going for him previously was that he actually played every single snap. He's not even doing that or anything close to it anymore. What you see out of the Steelers, really good win. Chase Claypool went off. And by the way, I read a bunch of stuff this morning that Steelers are open to trading Chase Claypool by the deadline. We'll see if anything happens there.
Yeah, Najee Harris just is like a colossal bust. What would you do with him right now? Would you be trying to package him and move him or
what? What can you even get?
Yeah, I don't know.
Hopefully you sold. Hopefully you didn't have him at all. If you're listening to us, hopefully you didn't have him at all. And then after week 1,
you didn't have him at all because I bumped him to the fucking 3rd round by the end of the shit, and we were drafting Jalen Warren. Hopefully we get some usage out of Jalen Warren. He's still one of the best stashes around, I think.
Yeah. He plays in the pass game, so you can use him in a pinch if you really need to, but it's thin when Najee is out there. But yeah, what would I do if I had Najee Harris at this point? I don't think I could get anything for him. So I'm not going to sell for total pennies. I'd rather just hang on and hope that something happens, but it's no light at the end of the tunnel for him right now.
No.
We'll see on Claypool. Really good game for Claypool. Yeah. Really good game. All right, last one is the Titans. They're coming out of their bye. They'll play the Colts at home. Any thoughts for you on the Titans as they come out of their bye? Traylon Burks remains injured and on IR.
No, I don't have any thoughts. No, I haven't thought about the Titans in a couple weeks. Yeah.
All right. We'll be back on Friday night for the Kama Sutra show. We'll be going position by position through Sunday's Week 7 main slate. Be sure to check out NBA if you are not subscribed there yet. For Evan, for producer Luke, I'm Adam. Good luck, everybody.